nshimira urubyiruko rw'u Rwanda ruri hano rwaje gutegana amatwi kubera ko hari byinshi mwaganiriye hagati yanyu ubwanyu ariko no gutega amatwi abandi nabo bashobora kugira ibyo babagezaho babunguraho mu buryo bw'imyubakire y'urubyiruko ariko n'imyubakire y'igihugu cyacu kuko nibyo kivuze iyo wubaka urubyiruko uba wubaka igihugu cy'ejo uko kizaba kimeze. Imbuto nazo imbuto foundation nagira ngo mbanze mbashimire kuba mwaduteguriye uyu munsi. N'indi minsi muhora mudutegurira. Imbuto bivuze ubundi ibintu bibiri mu Kinyarwanda. Imbuto ni seed or seed, icyo umuntu atera kigakuramo ibisa nacyo cyangwa se bikiruta. Ariko hari imbuto mu Kinyarwanda binavuze fruit. Imbuto burya ibi biribwa amacunga, imiyembe, bindi. Nagira ngo ntangire mbabwira ngo imbuto izo ziribwa fruits nyinshi zitangira ari icyatsi kibisi zikagera ku muhondo zarangiza zikaba umutuku. Ubu jyewe nageze ku mwisho. Ubwo nahoze ndeba muhondo, icyatsi kibisi, ubwo nabazaniye n'umutuku ngo kumenya aho umuntu atangirira iyo aganira n'urubyiruko, yaganira n'abayobozi bandi, ariko cyane cyane ureba igihe kiri imbere haba hari byinshi umuntu agomba kuganira nabo. Ndetse byinshi bikagomba gusubirwamo kuko bihoraho igihe cyose abantu bagira ngo babyibukiranye. Ariko ubu turaganira ibyakubaka urubyiruko mwebwe kugira ngo mube abayobozi beza cyangwa muzabe abayobozi beza mu context yo kubaka u Rwanda rwacu. U Rwanda rukeneye transformation, kugira ngo iryo jambo mugomba kuba mwarikoresheje kenshi mu biganiro byanyu. Rushaka kuvana u Rwanda mu bibazo byinshi, challenges nyinshi, a lot of challenges, tugashaka solutions, from challenges to solutions. In between, there is that transformation, that journey, which is called transformation. The journey from challenges, from problems to solutions is called transformation. But from those challenges to solutions, there are not just problems or challenges, there are also opportunities. And these are the ones we must concentrate on so that we overcome challenges. People will talk about so many things, which are very important, and we must put them in some kind of order or priorities, if we will, if we are to make good progress. People will talk about values. People will talk about dignity that hinges on those values. And those things have a meaning that we should respect if we are to succeed in our transformation process. That's why when people are talking to you, they must have talked about discipline, about skills, about different things. But those must come building on values, on dignity. This must be there. Rwanda has had its own challenges. We have faced in our past divisive politics. We have had a genocide. We have had a struggle to come out of all of those. A struggle really means that transformation. Struggling from challenges, building on opportunities, and finding solutions so that the people of Rwanda can be dignified as a people once again, can be proud of their values and culture and norms and traditions and so on. Above all, be able to develop. So who does this? Who does it? Who will carry out that transformation for Rwanda? Who? If it is not you? The donors? Zero. The neighbors? Forget. Just going to church and praying? Absolutely no. All these are important in their own ways, but they only can add, they can supplement to what you and me are trying to do for ourselves. Only. Right? Yes, if you and me do not take up these challenges and to some extent or to a great extent, people even sacrifice themselves. They sacrifice their time. They sacrifice everything they have. If we don't do that, forget about moving from these challenges, from poverty, from divisive politics, to prosperity, to well-being, to the kind of dignity that the people of Rwanda deserve and the people of this continent deserve. Forget about it. If you sit back and think that somebody else out there owes you that and will come to deliver it for you, you will wait for another 50 years in poverty. You will wait for another 100 years in poverty. That is if you are lucky to live. So I'm emphasizing this to bring out the centrality of ownership. People must own their path to self-determination, to prosperity, to the kind of life they deserve and want to have. Is that clear? And I'm not saying this because Rwanda is an exception. All people who are proud of being who they are or the successes they have witnessed and achieved have had to own these processes without exception. So Rwanda cannot be that exception that we will acquire prosperity without owning the processes that lead us to that prosperity. And this does not have to be clear to anybody when they are 30 or 40 or 50 years or 60. No, it has to start at the earliest age if we can, and we can. We can achieve that. We can mobilize ourselves and our resources so that this is realized right from the time we are still very young, from the time of your age. Some of you who are 14 or 15 who are here, even younger. You don't have to wait until you are 30, until you are 40, until you are 50, because the older you become, grasping new ideas starts becoming a little bit more difficult. You only start, you want to be defensive about your history, about your past, about, that's where the concentration of effort is going to be. If you wait until you are 30, 40, 50 years old, in order to realize this that I'm talking about, you will have problems, and the country will have problems, the society will have problems. Because as we've witnessed in our country, so much energy is lost in trying to debate and argue and convince people, even though many think it's obvious that our past has not been that good, and that the very people of those years I have talked about probably had responsibility in that ugly past. So people just end up being defensive about it and not thinking about shaping the future that is different from that past that has destroyed our society, our country, and led to the loss of lives of millions, but even those who are still alive are really, in a sense, not living. Yes, if you are where we are, if prevalence of poverty is still this high, if we still have to manage political issues of hatred, of killings, of all sorts of things, I think that takes a lot of energy from us that we would otherwise be using for building the kind of life and future that people deserve to have. So, young people, with that history, I want to move on from there. You see, with this history of ours I was talking about, which I want to have as a context of understanding our responsibility as the very young people here present, is a history that has made all of us today, all of us, victims. You see, in that history, in that ugly history, there were perpetrators. There were victims who were targeted. But today, it's no longer that kind of thing. It's no longer the perpetrators versus the victims. It's that we are all victims because we have inherited these problems, and we all have to resolve them together. You understand what I mean? It doesn't matter the perpetrators of yesterday or the victims of yesterday. In the end, today, we are all victims. We are all victims of poverty. We are all victims of bad politics of the past, and so on. It doesn't matter which side you were on in the past. So that calls then for us to understand better our tasks, our problem that we have to deal with. It's no longer about victims versus perpetrators. No. It is now all of us as victims and against the problems that have made us victims and that we continue to face today. It calls for change of attitude, change of mindset, change of mentality, right from your age, as I said earlier. Uko mu Kinyarwanda bavuga ko igiti ukigorora kikiri gito. Iyo utegereje igiti kigakura, waheraho ukigorora. Ugomba kukigorora kikizamuka kifite. Rero, your mentality mvuga, the mentality I'm talking about, the mindset, the attitude that we must change tubihera tukiri bato. Abantu bato bakumva ibibazo n'ababyeyi babo bakuriyemo, ndetse uko byaje bikabageraho nabo, noneho bagatangira gutekereza uruhare bagira mu gutanga umusanzu, their contribution towards a solution that will avoid the same problems. Mwebwe rero, you have unlimited opportunities. You can only decide to waste those opportunities, that's all. But they are there. They are there, the opportunities are there for you to waste. But if you understand the problems at hand, you will want to build on those opportunities, but it has to be based on the change of attitude, mindset, and of mentality. Therefore, if we are talking about change, then we mean that you, the young people, with time, as time changes, with the new challenges, with the old ones you are coming from, you should be able to shape the kind of future that the country deserves and the people want. It also means you will do the very things that will distinguish you, that will differentiate you. Indeed, as was said earlier, from those who made this a country, or the country of victims. You understand what I mean? If people who ran this country for many decades ended up making all of us victims, as I said earlier, it's our duty to be seen to be doing different things from those who made everyone a victim in this country. We have to be making everyone in this country a winner, a beneficiary, somebody who contributes to what is happening in deciding the future that you want and deserve. So as young people, in achieving this, I am sure you sit back individually, you think about many things, what you want to be, what you want to do. There are things of your preference. I only want to remind you that as you do that also not just thinking about yourself, but thinking about this future that you share with the many, with the millions of countrymen and women. So your responsibility is not just to build your future as an individual, it's also to contribute as much as you can to the shared future. to the future of this country. So you really have two responsibilities, major responsibilities in one. One is what you owe yourself and what you owe your country. They're intertwined. You can't separate them. So in your, you will probably tell me more as we go along. What are your aspirations? What is it that inspires you? What is that future that you want to share with others? Or even that future that you want for yourself as an individual? Well, you can sit back and say, you know, I admire rich people, people with a lot of money. I want to be like those. Which is okay. But you have to go beyond that. You have to say, by the way, how did this person get this money that I want to emulate, I want to be like? Suppose this fellow really was getting money by stealing from others. Would you therefore be saying, well, the end justifies the means? Would you be saying, I get there at any cost? No. I'm sure you want to choose the path carefully to that wealth, to those riches. You don't want all the way to go killing people or stealing from them to get the wealth you want. Because there are many ways of achieving that. The most important, and the one you should be looking at, is how hard you are going to work, how smart you are going to be in getting to that you want, without hurting anybody. And that's about what we said earlier on about discipline, about certain thinking that guides you to get where you want properly. You must be prepared to work hard. You must be prepared to invest your thinking, to invest your energy, to invest your time. It will require that you work hard. It doesn't require shortcuts. When your approach is about shortcuts, shortcuts come up with a lot of problems. You know, it's like or being in a hurry, shortcuts, or being in a hurry, or wanting, you know, to get things at any cost, disregarding what you have to go through between wanting it and getting it. Because you may drive a car and want to get to a point very fast, but the probability keeps increasing as you step on the gas hard, the harder you press, the higher the probability that you won't get there alive. You understand what I mean? So you have to calibrate things properly. If you want to drive very fast at a breakneck speed, if you want to go at 200 kilometers per hour, especially on our windy roads, if you took those to be some of the challenges you have to go through as well, the probability is that you'll overturn the car and you'll crash, and probably you won't reach there. So that's why it is important to choose how you get there. That's why it is important not to be obsessed with the end justifying the means. You need to calibrate properly. And it starts at your age. Don't wait until you are 40, please, or 50. It starts when you are 14, when you are 15, when you are 20, when you are 25. I think from 25, it starts wobbling if you know? So you need to start early. So, are you the person that will idealize, admire? A while ago, earlier on, the Chief of Defense Staff was talking to you as I got you from the report. And it was good that he told you our history of the struggle and the challenges and so on and so forth. But as you sit there, on which side are you? Are you, because there are those who will really feel excited about it and even appreciate what the generals, the soldiers, the rank and file did and so on and so forth. But in the end, when it comes to telling them to be part of it, they say, we don't want to go there. So you appreciate it, but you don't want to be part of it. And why? Why wouldn't, why not? Why would you not be part of it? You know, I mean, it's not even about being a general or a different level of officer that I'm talking about. But I'm talking about what you've already appreciated that the liberation has brought about. So if liberation has brought peace, security, the necessary environment for the kind of transformation I was talking about, or you were talking about earlier on. Why would you want to just enjoy it? It is your right, after all, by the way, and you should enjoy it. Enjoy those fruits. But you don't want to be a contributor. And being a contributor, I don't mean now necessarily just being a soldier. A contributor can be other things. There are many other things people can do or be to contribute to that. going to be, apart from being a beneficiary and enjoying what has come out of it, I think you should also enjoy being part of that process that brings the kind of outcome, isn't it? Yes. You should. It's also your right. It's also, by the way, if I may say, it's also your duty. It's also your duty. That we won't succeed, as I said earlier, unless we invest our time, our thinking, our efforts, ourselves, to bring this about. So there are no shortcuts. Yes, you can't just stop at saying, yeah, these people, oh, they're very good, clap when they say what they did. But when it comes, say, by the way, there is an opportunity for you to be part of this. And then you start saying, well, by the way, I have a stomach problem, so well, I have a cough, I can't be there, so, I think people have to, yes, you need to be part of it. Or you need to identify something else that contributes directly to that outcome. I'm not here, shouldn't misunderstand me, I'm not talking about everybody being a soldier or a liberator in the sense that you probably heard, but you can be in different ways. But I'm just warning you that any meaningful contribution will not be that you always find easy. This is just what I'm alerting you to. If you want to be part of this change process, if you want to contribute to it, you will not always find it so easy to contribute to it. You will not do it the easiest way you want. Sometimes you've got to make some kind of sacrifice. Whether it is the time you spend thinking about it or direct contribution in doing different things, you'll have to do it. And that means probably you'll be spending your time where necessarily it wasn't your first choice to spend your time. Right? Yes. For you who are students, who every other time during the year will be tested on different things you are being taught and so on and so forth. As you know, as everyone knows, you won't probably find it a very easy way of passing your exams unless you invest your time in, you know that. It's not, so it means you'll probably sacrifice a few weekends, right? Yes, you'll sacrifice some nights out to somewhere in good places and get to going through, some of the things you've been taught, isn't it? Yes, this is the sacrifice, this is the time, this is the investment I'm talking about. Nothing will come your way as easy as you want it. No. The more you invest, the harder you work, the better the returns. And this should probably stick in our minds and should even become our way of life, our culture. And probably in our case, in Rwanda's case, in your case as the youth of this country, you will be required to work even harder than probably other youths that I know. Or, people deciding for you what you should do because they feed you, which again destroys our most valuable asset, dignity, will always be the result. The destruction of it will always be the result. There are no shortcuts about it. The earlier you understand it, the earlier you make the decision to understand it and to act as required, the better for you, the better for this country, the better for all of us, and the better for your own children that will soon be coming. You are here, you are 14, but in another few years, you have your own family, you have your own children. So what I'm saying that is affecting you, that you need to fight, if you don't, it will affect your children. Isn't it? It's not very complicated in my view to understand it. What is only hard is to act in such a manner that we actually deal with these issues as they must be dealt with. But I think for the argument of whether this is the truth or not, I think everything is obvious, in my view. But with the humility, with the self-respect, with the discipline, with the determination, with making good choices as an individual, as a people, and then basing our actions on that, we should be able to succeed. Isn't it? And the success of our liberation, which was outlined to you earlier, it is not an end in itself. It only gave us a platform on which to continue building and succeeding in the different endeavors that we have to undertake. The success of the liberation that whose story you are told was just a starting point, was a foundation on which to build. If you don't build properly on that foundation, then the effort of building the foundation is wasted. So, and we should not waste it, and we can't afford to waste it. Right? Yes, we can't afford to waste it. We just can't afford. Think about yourself. Think about your country. And think even beyond. Even beyond. So for those young men and women who shortly will be those who come from outside or who go outside, sometimes I see them characterized as diaspora. It's not correct. Some of you are not diaspora. People who leave their families here, go to study, they are not called diaspora. Diaspora is like a movement of people who relocate from one place to another. But you students who leave your families here, go to study, biriya ni nko guhaha. Yes. Mwagiye guhaha. Mujya guhaha ubwenge. Mukadusanga hano aho mukagaruka. Iwanyu mukazana mukadusanga tubategereje ku miryango ngo muzanye iki? Ubwo mukerekana icyo muzanye ubwo mwaza so nimujya guhaha rero iyo mwagiye guhaha ndashaka kumvikana namwe ibyo mukwiye kuba muhaha because sometimes ntabwo ubanza bitumvikana muhaha ibiki. Some of them come back ubona bahashye ibintu bidafitinga neza hano binyuranye na za ntuza twebwe icyo tubatezeho ni ubumenyi. Ubumenyi mwagiye guhaha ubumenyi, ntabwo mwagiye guhaha imico mibi. Numvise bavuze na za drugs n'iki hano nabyo mwabiganiriye. Ntawe dushobora gutuma kuva hano kujya guhaha drugs mu birometero 10,000. Oya, nanone zakwicira hano utagombye kujya ku yes. So nta kujya guhaha drugs, kujya guhaha n'ibindi biki mwa yeah. You know, ibintu byica ubuzima bw'abantu bakiri bato, why can't you avoid it? And it is not a question that you don't have evidence. No, you have more than enough evidence of how, if you mismanage yourself, if you mishandle yourself, how it results for you into short life or terrible life. Can't we try to avoid that? Ariko byose biragenda bishaka icyo nababwiraga. You see, ibintu byiza biraruhanya, urabikorera, uritanga, really invest in that, in getting that. Ariko ibibi kandi biryoha ukwabyo. Yes, kuko ni attraction. Ukurikira ibintu short term kandi wajya kumenya ubube bwabyo bikaba byakurangije. Yes, before you realize you are dead. So please, ntabwo abana bacu bari hano, ubu ndavuga abana b'igihugu, mwebwe dutezeho ubuyobozi bw'ejo n'uyu munsi, ndetse ntabwo mugenda ibirometero bingahe ngo ababyeyi banyu babatangeho ibyo bafite hafi byose, bagira ngo mugende icyo mwebwe mubazanire drugs. Cyangwa baze kubona abantu babatumaho ngo nimuze mwakire abana banyu batunaniye, cyangwa muze mwakire imirambo y'abana banyu baguye hano. Would that be an investment? Think about it that way. What kind of investment? None se kugenda nabwo ukagaruka ubusa. Twavuze ibyica abantu n'ibigira, ariko nta gupfa kurenza ukwenewe. Kugenda ibyo birometero byose ibihumbi bingahe, ababyeyi bagutanzeho ibintu byose, nako se n'ababyeyi nako byose byitwa ababyeyi n'igihugu. Hanyuma nyuma y'imyaka 5, 7 ukagaruka ubusa. Ukagaruka uri umunyabinyoma gusa ubeshya. Vuga ko wahuye n'impanuka, wahuye n'ibintu. Oh yeah. These are serious issues you must think about. kandi abantu bashaka gutera imbere nyine nanone bakora choices. Choice ndashaka kuyihera u Rwanda ubwo dushaka kongera kubaho, tukabaho neza, tugatera imbere. Hari ibintu bimwe dukoraho choices, dutoranya, duhitamo. Kuko ni nk'umuntu, igihugu ni nk'umuntu. Kubera ko akuzanya navugaga. Umuntu ashobora kurangwa n'umuco na character ye n'ibikorwa bye n'iki. Ibyo bifominga umuntu bakamenya bati kanaka ateye atya bakamusobanura bakavuga character. N'igihugu kigira character. Bavuga bati uyu muntu avuye mu Rwanda, bati ni babandi bameze batya. Bati u Rwanda ruzwiho iki, burya ni character y'igihugu baba bavuga. So twebwe character yacu tugomba kuyubaka natwe tukagera kuba abanyarwanda twitwara, ikiduhesha ishema, icyo twubaha, icyo ntabwo bivuze ko bitubuza abantu kugira diversity, kugiramo ibintu bituma batandukana uko batekereza cyangwa iki, ariko ndavuga aho duhurira. Aho duhurira kiza kuduhuza noneho kiba character. So muri kuriya kwiga abantu bajya hanze bakajya kwiga kibe gikorwe mu buryo bw'ibyo dushaka nk'igihugu mu kubaka character yacu. Kandi ibindi bihugu murabibona. Njya nganira na bamwe muri mwebwe abana hanze. Usanga bavuga aho baba biga. You know? Sinzi impamvu nabyo muri uko kubivuga kuba barabibonye batabivanamo isomo ahubwo ngo bibafashe. Ahubwo bati kwigana n'abakoreya. Ati ntibasinzira. Ati barara bakora. Kuki babonamo uko nguko? Kuki utayibona muri buri we? Kuki we batabikubonamo ariko? Kuki abanyarwanda batababonamo bati munyarwanda yaraha? Bata aruhuka ari uko ageze ku ntego. Kuki mwebwe batabibabonamo? Bakubwira abakoreya, bakakubwira abashinwa, bakakubwira abajapani, bakakubwira ariko ntibivuge. Yes, kuki mwe mutivuga? Kuki mutavuga mutari kuyo turi hariya muzi ko baba batubona? Tubabazi kuki habuze iki? Bikibuze niki mwabajeni? Ahubwo buri ushobora gusanga bizageraho abakoreya bajya bavuga bati abanyarwanda ni abantu bakunda fun, bari around there, they enjoy their fun. So, niba ariyo character mwahisemo nayo mubimbwira nuko tubishyire mu budget. To budgetingire fun, tumenye ngo they enjoy their fun, you know. They want to enjoy their time. Uri mu US wants to enjoy their time in the US. Doing what? Oh, cheating. You want to chill? I don't know. Your investment iragoye kwiassociatinga nayo. Ibyo nabyo niba byagiraga igihe cyabyo ariko ntibibe the priority. I don't mind you cheating after hard work. I don't mind that. Whatever it means anyway, I don't know. But I don't mind that, but you can't make that the primary thing. No, the primary thing is the hard work, the results. And then cheating is a secondary thing. Eh? Isn't it? This is really the Rwanda we want, the youth we want, the young, our future, the future we want. And we've seen many examples, so we don't have to dwell much on it. People who make good choices will get good results and benefits, and they will be happy and proud of where they are and what status they have in development and prosperity. And those who make bad choices will probably be where we are. But I hope we are on the way to making good choices and being where we want to be. It's not all doom and gloom. It's I think, there is a good story being built by Abanyarwanda that we need to continue and even take further and even improve and make better. So the writing of history and a good story about Rwanda is very positive. So, but it even makes it more important for us to work harder, because we need to maintain that. We need to sustain it. We need to do more. We need to do better. And we simply are looking to you, you young people, as we look to ourselves, the old ones, but more you, so that we, right? Warekeraho namwe mukagira ibyo mumbwira ariho. Thank you very much.